Afternoon and a very warm welcome back to the Power Hour, the famous Power Hour. Yes, we are in our 4th year now of bringing you the essential tips and the best practice that you need to get the most out of your software, whether it's TaxCalc or Engager. We are absolutely on hand to get you the insight that you need. This all started weirdly about 4 years ago, when one of our customers who had been using TaxCalc for 12 years got in touch and said that he had been switch between clients. He had been logging off and logging back on again. So we realized that we needed to provide some kind of service to help people make sure that they're using it to the absolute nth degree. And then we are here now to provide that for you. So we've covered a huge amount over the years, everything from charities, we put Engager in, but we've now got a slightly new format and we've got a new time slot. So we're now on Thursdays between 2 and 3 p.m. And the new format is very much like the old choose your own adventure books. So rather than us telling you what we think you should be hearing, it's down to you. So I'm going to put a poll live. So on the bottom corner, you will get a poll live, and this is the Power Hour menu. That's just gone live. And the point is that you get to choose. So just choose whichever options that you would like us to cover in today's hour from the menu there, and we will cover as much as we can from it. So you are driving. Don't take that responsibility lightly. So I can see you all started. If you can, are you starting? Is that open for you? Yeah, everyone is in there, and we're starting to find out what people want to see. So put in anything and all that you want to see. And of course, if you do want to see something that isn't included on the menu, you can go into the chat and you can suggest from there as well. So thank you all for joining us. We've got Johan, Gorie and Nick Moss, who you probably know, but Johan is one of the founders of Engager, and Nick Moss is one of the finest training and customer onboarding people in the business, and he works for TaxCalc. Well done, Nick. Thank you. So before we start, and while you are taking the poll and letting us know what it is that you want to see, I'm going to just go through the housekeeping in case anyone who hasn't been to one of the Power Hours before. You've got several options. We do love your questions. We do love your comments. Please use the chat. Everyone will see what you put into the chat. If you've got a particular question, specific thing that you want us to see, the question and answer tab is where to go. And the polls you are already using. So thank you very much for that. And there will be a recording that will be sent to you after this session. So let's take a look. It's looking rather like, Nick, you may be up first, because TaxCalc Accounts Production, 5 things you probably never knew about TaxCalc Accounts Production, is flying ahead on the popularity grid. Please use the poll, by the way, throughout the session. If there's something that you suddenly have a burning urge to see, then just indicate in there that what it is that you would like to see.
I've just been in and ticked all the ones that I want to see. They just happen to be TaxCalc ones.
Just trying to get anything for an easy life. Anything for an easy life. So we will have a little quiz later, but Nick, if you want to get started and go live with Accounts Production, let's see what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully my internet connection will hold up, because it seems like it keeps notifying me that it's struggling, so I'll see what I can do. I've also just written down 5 things that are helpful in Accounts Production, so hopefully let's see if we can get through these. Let's see if we can share my screen. So let's go with this one. There we go. I think we're on. Okay, so what we've got on screen there again is a landing page that you would see when you access TaxCalc. And in the top right corner, I can click Accounts Production and click Launch. Now, if I go and open up one of my limited companies in the system, for example, Alpha Limited here, it will then take me into my accounting period. Now, the first thing that I'm just going to highlight is to create something that I call smart notes. Okay, we don't actually have a technical name for it internally, but it's the ability to go and create notes, all information from elsewhere in the database or in the trial balance automatically onto the face of the notes. So if I go to my notes on the left-hand side and edit notes, we should all be pretty comfortable with this particular screen if we use Accounts Production. But if I go and open up a particular section, for example, the accounting policies on the left-hand side, I have a list of all the accounting policies that are pulling through for this particular FRS 102 1A client, but this will work for all different types of client as well. If I, for example, open up the turnover note here, we can see that this is the text that the turnover note would pull through as standard. You do have the ability to change this standard wording if you wanted to. For example, I think I've added into my system as default for it to say turnover from the sales of goods or services, because I don't think the default one does that. So I can show people how to do that if people want to see how to go and edit that from the master. If you do please go and make me aware of it, that you do want to see that. If not, don't worry about it. But let's say you wanted to go and change this information. I could click enter here and type in test for Andy. Yep, and type in that box that I want to go and edit it from the norm. If I click preview mode at the top, that will show you what that note would look like if I was to go and run the account. You can see down it says test for Andy. If I go back to edit mode, now this is where you can create your smart notes. So if I add a few more lines here, when I worked in practice, we tended to want to edit the turnover note that would then detail what the sales for the year were. So what you can fill in here is something like that says sales for the year were, and rather than having to type the figure in and have to come back and change it afterwards, if you go to token here on the at the top of that taskbar, it will then give you a list of a variety of bit of information depending on what you want to add into your particular note, whether that be dates in terms of period end dates, names of directors, wording elsewhere in the accounts. But if I pull through a particular field here called current balance, you see you can pull through particular wordings or figures based on what's in the trial balance itself. So if I select that current balance and then pick the specific nominal code that I want it to pull through, for example, my sales nominal code, we'll see here that if I preview that note again, it's going to pull through my 15.1 million from my trial balance automatically onto the face of that note rather than having to go and change it each time. That's super helpful if your client is quite often towards the end of the process and tells you, oh, we've not input this invoice into the bookkeeping system, so you have to go and update your trial balance. That will automatically update it on the face of the note rather than having to go and manually change it afterwards. You can create a bit more detail as well. So, for example, you may want to have the token for the comparative year. That's an option in there as well. So if you then put comparative year colon, I don't know why I added a colon to the wrong line there. Let me delete that. And then you could put the pound sign again, and then this time you could then put the token for the comparative year balance of the sales nominal code as well. Bear in mind, I think I've got the same TB in twice for the 2 years, hence why it's going to give me the same figure. But you'll see if I then hit preview there, it's going to pull through sales for this year is 15.1 million, and then for 2024, it's 15.1 million as well, because it's the same TB. The idea here, though, is that when you roll forward, it will automatically update those figures and roll forward for next year and change it from 24 to 2025. That's the idea there. Okay, so a super, super helpful
Nick,
bit there.
before you move on from that,
yes,
Rebecca in the questions just asked, can you add more than one code, for instance, if you had two different sales codes?
You wouldn't be able to amalgamate them together in terms of like a total, but what you could do that people like to do is you could have something like this. So this function I'm about to show you is only available if you take the medium and large accounts add-on. So it is an additional extra, but it's optional if you want it. This is where you have the ability to add an additional table, whether it be a standard or custom table. I always recommend standard table because it gives you this nice grid where it gives you your current and comparative years already filled out, and it keeps the columns correctly aligned with what's with how the accounts are laid out. What that allows you to do is go to insert additional rows before or after. So you could go and enter your tokens for your sales, for example, in here for the current year. So I'm going to pull through my sales nominal code into there. So you could have, I don't know, sales type 1 or whatever you want to call it. And then in here, you would then have another token for comparative balance or current balance of, say, let's not choose sales when we've got anything in there. Let's randomly go to, let's do sales. It'll say 0, but then you'd have sales type 2. and you would just need to here make sure that the alignment is right. So if I preview that, you see it's going to pull through. That would be a 0 if there was a figure in there. There isn't one, until it's not pulled anything through. But that's how you would effectively do the breakdown if you wanted to. But it's not going to amalgamate into one figure. Hopefully that's answered your question there, Rebecca, in terms of the information. But yeah, it's worth noting that the tokens are included in the standard license. If you want the breakdown of the table, you would need the medium and large accounts add-on for that purpose. But with the notes, I know a lot of times people don't actually like to have to navigate in and out the accounts to go and change them. So if I go to my set of accounts here, which can navigate to the full financial statements on the left-hand side, this will take me to our accounts in TaxCalc. One little thing here is I've got my client's logo appearing on the face of my accounts. One of my team thinks it's really funny because I've got a TaxCalc hat and they think I look like a monkey from time to time. That's why they put that in there before I do any webinars, which is nice to see. What you can do is if you went and opened up the client record, which from a navigational perspective is really easy, you can click the cog in the top right corner. Andy was probably taking bets on how soon the cog will be mentioned on the Power Hour. It's in, we're there.
So
11 minutes, I'm in.
We're in. So if you click the cog in the top right corner, you can open the client record. This is where you would then be able to go and add your client logo on the company information tab. So you can see here, that's where I've got my client logo, which would then make it appear on the face of my company accounts. But if I scroll down towards the bottom down here for my edit notes section, we can see here that this is the note I just went and changed. If I looked at that and went, actually, I don't want that there to say test for Andy anymore. I want it to say test for Johan. I can click switch to edit mode in the top left-hand corner of this button here. And it would then allow me to click on any of the pink boxes that appear on the account for me to click on and go and change it straight from the face of the account. So I could then go and change that from Andy to Johan, click save and close. It will then do a quick refresh and update that. And we will then see that that has now changed to show it as test for Johan on that set of accounts. So a really helpful bit to be able to go and change things live on the face of the accounts. Probably another thing I'll just jump into accounts production is the ability to have multiple years open at the same time. So what we can do, again, using Andy's favorite button, the cog in the top right corner, you'll be able to go to open another accounting period or another client in accounts production. So you're able to open up another accounting period. I could have January 2024, for example, open up side by side to 2025. So I'm able to have the two periods open at the top by the tabs side by side at the same time. Really, really popular part about the TaxCalc Accounts Production system. And the last tip I like to point out here is a lot of the time people will want to work on accounts production and corporation tax at the same time. So if you click the cog in the top right corner, again, the third tab we mentioned already.
I never dreamed we would have that
trick.
Might be a new record. Open in tax return production, and it will then allow me to open up corporation tax at the same time as accounts production. And for anyone who has been a stalwart of the Power Hour series will know what's coming next, but I'm still yet to find that many existing customers that know how to use this. If I have accounts and corporation tax open at the same time, at the top, you can go to Windows. That's not Microsoft Windows. That's in relation to the Windows within TaxCalc. You can then choose multiple Windows mode, and that will pop out each of the products to its own tab. So you can have tax on one screen, accounts on the other. And then when you're done, you can go back to Windows and single window mode, and that'll pop it all back together in the same order that it was before. So that's pretty much everything I would tend to show as nice little quick hints and tips on accounts production. Is there anything else in the questions section or chat, Andy and Johan, that needs to be aware of about what we've just gone through?
No more questions. However, Tom is a big fan of multiple windows mode, and who isn't? If anyone in the chat does have any other tips about accounts production that you would like to share, Paul says we still haven't convinced him to switch from VT. So
we'll send the heavies round.
Yeah.
We'll get
the joys of VT, they're still being celebrated. But yeah, if anyone's got any other tricks that you developed yourself or any other best practice, please do share. Julie says, is it possible to have 2 pages from accounts production open at the same time?
It's not, unfortunately, no. We do have a bit of an internal project dealing with that called Project Fancy Tabs to allow us to do that, but it's not something which is on the immediate roadmap to later have separate tabs open at the same time. So yeah, it's going to be done by product. That's why you can have accounts on one screen, tax on the other, and that's how that would work. But you can't have accounts on one screen, accounts on the other, unfortunately.
I mean, did we contract President Trump to come up with that project name? Because that sounds like one of his Project Fancy Tabs.
I think that was Greg, Johan, just for the record. It was Greg's Greg's name of that one.
Okay, couple of points. So Tom says his favourite TaxCalc tip is to download the chart of accounts from TaxCalc, upload to bookkeeping software, so the COA matches TaxCalc, and then when you do the trial balance import, the mapping is easy.
100%. Yeah, it just means you can use the TaxCalc nominal chart for the map. So yeah, it does mean that maybe your clients, if they use the nominal codes in Xero, they may not like that you've switched them, but if they don't do the bookkeeping or not bothered, absolutely feel free to do that. Lewis asked a question. Is it possible to force a page break in a set of accounts? For example, to push the fixed asset note onto a new page to avoid it being split? Good question, Lewis. It's not something that is possible to kind of separate the notes out. But if I share my screen, you can add a page break in a particular note. So if I come back to that section, this might be a Power Hour first, a page break in here. So if I come back to this note that we saw earlier, and I've got my turnover note. Let's say I wanted to put a split between my my two. Click on it, it will take me back into here, and you can see there's the page break button here. So if I click in between there and click page break, this is where it will separate out a particular note. Click save and close. We'll then do a quick refresh, and we'll see we'll now push the rest of that note that we added onto a second page there. But no, there's no way of splitting out like a pre-made note around the fixed asset note that's kind of built as standard. We have made Siobhan aware in terms of the product owner of Accounts Production to try and kind of force the fixed asset note to go into its on page if it does split, but it's not something that's going to be there imminently, unfortunately.
And what's the name of that project? Is that
Project Anti-Split, probably. Project Banana Split. I don't know.
Another quick one from Leon. Can you do monthly management accounts on there for a parent and a subsidiary in a consolidation?
You can, but it would be a bit of a faff in that you would have maybe having to import the months. You have to update the prior year's data as the year-to-date figure and import the monthly figure as if it's the current year. It doesn't do like monthly management accounts as you would expect like a bookkeeping system to kind of produce monthly information. It will still produce them in a year-end accounts format. So it's not designed to be management accounts, but if you just want to get a set of information together in the right boxes, you can do that. But it just requires a bit of a jiggery poker in terms of the data that you get into the relevant period.
Yeah, cool. Okay, wonderful. Let's move on to point 2. Now, I hate to tell you this, Nick. Guess what number 2 is?
I'm going to go for a coffee now. I'll leave you guys to it.
I expected this.
Please, can we vote for some to get Johan to work? We need some Engager ones. We might have to just jump to that and say.
I'll tell you this. What I'll do is I'll do personal tax and corporation tax together, right? Because there's a couple of things that kind of improve it. And there's actually something which with corporation tax, I only found out about a couple of weeks ago. And I've been here for 3.5 years. It's been in the system for years, so I'm going to find out, show you something that is what I feel is new in corporation tax. There's probably plenty of people saying I've known about that for a long time. So, but I'll go to personal tax first. There's a couple of things I just want to point out because it also integrates well with accounts production. So I'll go back to that client I was talking about before, this limited company set Alpha Limited, because what you can do in accounts production in the postings is any dividends that you post, you can allocate those dividends to the specific director. And by doing that, it will be able to pull those dividends through into their personal tax return. But really importantly, you need to make sure that the date the dividend was paid is filled in this column. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry, Andy. That's my fault. Share my screen.
I thought you were just building it up before revealing it.
No, here we go. So, right, just for everyone's benefit, I'm in accounts production, as we saw before. But if I go into the posting section on the left-hand side, I've got a journal which is here for dividends. But it'd be no different if this was your standard TB. What I'm highlighting here is that you can allocate any dividends which were paid to a specific director. And this is where, as long as you've got the dates filled in correctly in this column here on the right-hand side, that will make it appear in the correct tax period. So just to prove I'm not fixing anything, Andy, give me any figure you like for dividends that was paid for the year.
3,000.
3,000. Okay, and let's put that in there. So the debit and credit's the same. And then Johan, any figure as well?
50,000.
50,000. Okay, just to show I'm not fixing anything because people think this was pre-prepared. I promise you it wasn't. And I've got one there that was paid on the 1st of Feb 24, one on the 31st of January 2025. So that is spanning 2 separate tax years. So if I go and save and close that and go into Adam Alpha's personal tax return for 5th of April 2025 in here, on the left-hand side, we have our other income section. And if I go to other income and savings and investments, and shares and unit trusts, there is the option here where it says dividends and other qualifying distributions from UK companies, including directors' dividends. If we click the magic one there, which means there is a wizard behind it, right at the bottom of my screen, because I've got lots of dividends posted in this particular test client, there is an option at the bottom here that says importing dividend data from TaxCalc Accounts Production. So this is where if you click import dividends, it will show me all the dividends that Adam Alpha has had allocated to him in his accounts production periods. So you'll see here that we've got 2 Alpha Limited dividends, a £3,000 and a £50,000, that Andy and Johan gave. So I'm able to tick a box here that says only show the dividends where the posting date is in this tax year. I tick it, and you'll see here it will now only show me Johan's 50,000 because Andy's was outside of this tax year. Click import, it would then pull it through for that particular dividend, the £50,000 at the bottom down. It's going to take a second to pull through. So I've got lots and lots of dividends in this client. We can see there, scroll right to the bottom, that I've got Alpha Limited, 31st of January, £50,000. Really, really helpful bit to have the sync between accounts production and there. Is Angela asking, is that dividend important new? I don't think it is, Angela. I think it's been in the system for a long time, but it might be the first time I've talked about it on a Power Hour. Okay. Yeah, Angela, do not kick yourself for not knowing about that.
Yeah.
I'd been working at TaxCalc for 18 months before I knew about it, so don't kick yourself about it if you didn't know about it.
You're very far from being on your own, and that's why we do the Power Hour, is because there's lots in there. Things get released every 3 months. There will be new releases into TaxCalc, and it's very easy to miss them, which is why we are here.
100%. And there's another thing I just want to highlight as well. If I go to the Your Work section and go to, say, my benefits here, can you see that some of these boxes are highlighted in green logo? So one thing you are able to do is to authorize your TaxCalc system to be able to pull through digital tax account information from HMRC into your client's tax return. Now, this information, to be clear, is sometimes quite flaky because it's relying on HMRC APIs to be able to pull through the correct information. But if it can pull it through, it will show it and pull it through into the correct boxes. You can still overtype it, like I've done here for my one at the top that marks it as £40 there. But I just want to highlight these little icons on the right-hand side. The question mark takes you to your TaxCalc help manual for that particular section. So if I click on it, it will then take me to my company cars and vans sections, what I can and basically can't claim as a benefit. But the one I want to highlight here is the set of scales. What the set of scales means in this particular section is that there is a balance in that box for last year. So we were trying to think of what we could have. So scales balance. So that's why we put that in there. And if you click on it, it will tell you what that figure was for last year and whether there's been an increase or decrease as an amount and as a percentage. So if you see an empty box here with a set of scales next to it, potentially you've forgotten to fill something out. So what we then have alongside that, these are scales are across the entire tax database. However, there is an amazing report under summaries on the left-hand side, and right at the bottom of summaries, there's a report called variance. And what this does is it pulls through the entire information of what is on the current year's tax return against the comparative with variances and as amounts and as percentages. So an amazing tool that allows you to see what there is potentially forgotten to fill in or what is wildly different than last year. And this report, you are able to export it to Excel, Word, or as a nice PDF at the bottom, which will allow you to use it even just internally as a nice little PDF document, or to give to your client if they're interested in having this information as part of their tax bundle. Now, some of you may have seen that one of my rows here is highlighted in red. This is my dividends from UK companies. And the reason why this is highlighted in red is because I have clicked this personalized tax calc button that I'm highlighting here, that then allows you to put what do you want the system to alert you. So I've said I want the system to alert me when my interest and dividends has a more than 10% variance year on year, irrelevant of the amount. So because if I close that, we'll see that dividends is highlighted in red because it's got a 170% increase. Hugely, hugely important part of the system. That's to personalize your system, and that's you as a user, not for the entire practice. If there are 4 or 5 of you, for example, at your firm, you are able to kind of to say what information do you want to have highlighted to you. Now, it's worth referencing. I'll just stay in personal tax for the minute, but I'll jump to corporation tax lightly. You can always have, that's a great point, Tom, I will do that. What you can also do is if I jump into corporation tax, so if I go to Alpha Limited and open up corporation tax that we saw before, this was the thing which I found about literally a couple of weeks ago. I still don't think it's perfect, but I think there's a couple of things that want to be added to it. Is where if you're in a corporation tax return, you are able to have a variance report as well. So if I go to view in a corporation tax return, there is the option for yearly comparison here. I didn't know this existed. So if I choose yearly comparison, that's what it will tell me for the different references, what they are year on year. Now, this source column wants to be populated with information because at the minute it is blank, so it doesn't give you much information as to what things are is massively different, but you can still click the go on the right-hand side to take to that particular box if there is anything that you think is jumping out at you. I have asked the tax team to go and fill in this particular column for the source so that it gives you a bit more information because it's very similar to the variance reports in personal tax, but it just doesn't give you just quite enough information. Okay, I'll just state in personal tax for one more thing. And it is probably Johan's favourite thing that he's learnt relatively recently, and it is the what-if planner. So let me just go into 2026 tax period for this one.
That's so a year ago.
It is so a year ago, but to think about how much you.
The only reason I didn't know about it is no one sold it to me.
no one showed it to you. So the what-if planner. The what-if planner is a tool that allows you to do a projected calculation for the next tax year. And from our June release, we'll include the 26-27 tax rates. Currently, it's using 25-26, but we do put a warning at the bottom to tell you that, okay? And what you do is you click a button that says use 25-26 values that pulls through the information from the tax return that you've already populated and likely already filed for that client to give you an amazing starting point to say, we imagine what 26-27 is going to be like is probably going to be quite similar to 25-26. So once that information is on there, you can just click Add Edit Source, and it will then pull through all that information we saw before, just as header boxes. So if I had a chat with Adam, and Adam said that his income from employment next year is going to increase to 60, but his self-employment is increased to 35,000. He started renting out a new property at, say, 8,500, and his UK dividends have increased a little bit to 12,000. You can go and add as much additional information here if you wanted to. This is just an example from my side. That will then appear on this lead sheet. We can see his total income received is now down as 115,000, hence why he's now got a reduced personal allowance of 4,852. So, I'm assuming that a lot of the clients you deal with, if they have income of 115,000, you'll try and get them beneath that £100,000 barrier, whether that be because of the 60% tax trap or the if any of your clients have got children in childcare and they need to maintain the higher earner of the family to beneath £100,000 in earnings, you can click Add Edit Deductions and change the pension payment to be, let's say, 18,000 to make sure we get them under that 100,000, and it would then give them back the full personal allowance. Really easy to go and change these. Extend the basic rate band, edit any tax deductions relief, pay AOI adjustment, student postgraduate loan. The big one would be CGT. Clients thinking about disposing of property, you can put other property assets and gains and say, look, what if we sold the property for 350 or 375? What would that knock-on effect be in terms of any payments on account due off the back of that? And that's where it would give you a really nice document. There's a nice PDF on there. And we can see that in there. A nice document to give to your clients. The what-if planner, in my opinion, probably my favourite bit about the system, to be honest. I appreciate it is an add-on, but it is a small add-on for the value that you would get out of it. It would range somewhere in the region of 75, I think, to 150 pounds, depending on how many tax returns you do in the system. Okay.
And that's for a full year.
For the full year, not per client. Absolutely. You can't add branding to the what-if planner, unfortunately. We know that Andy Wainwright has been asking for that for a long time, so it is on the agenda, Tom, but it's not something which has been added in immediately, unfortunately.
There'll be a name for that.
Yeah, the other thing I just want to highlight just very quickly before we hopefully hear from Johan for a minute is accounts production, because what Tom referenced is something which I kind of just expect as default, is that a lot of people's accounts production systems will look like this for their trial balance, so it just shows debit and credit. Whereas what you can do is go to customize in the top left-hand corner and change that to be able to add multiple years. So I'm able to go and add in, for example, the comparative year and choose to include a variance as an amount and as a percentage. Click continue, then give me a report that shows me the current against comparative with variances on as well. And you can have that as your default if you wanted. So what you could go into the admin center and go and update it. If anyone wants to see that, pop it in the chat. I can record a little video and send it out to everyone. But yeah, that is how you would do it on a client by client basis. So thanks, Tom, for popping that in there. But that's probably everything I would say from a quick hints on accounts and tax in the time we've got allocated. So let's hopefully hand over to an Engager request, Andy.
Thank you, Nick. Yes. So in the
People
chat,
have got their favourites. Let's not deprive them.
Yeah, no. Right. So I need three things from you if you are watching today. First one, we need to put Johan to work. So I need you to vote for an Engager thing. Oh, I think we're gonna pick the top rating Engager thing. Just otherwise, Johan's just not earning his
because
craft.
the people know I do a weekly live every Wednesday night for an hour, dealing with exactly what Nick's just done for 30 minutes and is now whinging he's worked too hard. 30 minutes once a month and he's done.
Look what you've done. So the second thing is I'm going to put a second poll live as well. Now this one is, if you have seen anything today, if you happen to not be a TaxCalc user as yet, please indicate using the poll that I've just put live if you would like any follow-up on TaxCalc itself or any of the add-on products that you've just seen. So What If Planner, for example, if you indicate on there, we can get in touch and we can get you sorted with that. On the other side, we have, if you are interested in Engager, which is the fully cloud, or full end-to-end practice management solution that will automate everything from the engagement letters, the proposal building, the workflows, and we'll hopefully be touching on a few of those a little bit later. Indicate in there and we can get in touch and give you more information about Engager. So just indicate that in the poll. And we have a very small quiz for you. So there is a prize up for grabs. Now you may see me modeling the TaxCalc Engager with side flash logo as modeled by the team at Accountex. If any of you were at Accountex, you would have seen that the TaxCalc Engager stand was by far the busiest, I think, of the whole show. We were absolutely mobbed. Now, if you can get closest to the number of people, if you did come to our stand, we probably scanned you. How many people do you think that TaxCalc scanned at our stand over the 2 days of Accountex? Closest number wins. Go for it in the chat if you would, and you could stand to win one of these t-shirts. Now, what have we got? What have we got here?
Paul said 12,000. I'm just gonna cap it, guys. They only had 14,000 people at the event, so they didn't all come to us.
Was there a 67,000 bid there, which I think was possibly over
10,000, 12,000,
we are
16,000.
Yeah, we've actively ignoring any attempt to rationalise this process into a more sensible one.
18,000.
I'm quite pleased that people think this many people would come over and speak to us at Accountex. I'm impressed.
I'm going to call it.
I think we mugged half of London.
Yeah. I'm going to call it. So the actual number that we scanned was 1,068 over the 2 days. So I'm going to call it, because as you got Mark Craddock, 999, and that's the closest number we had to it. Well done, Mark. Congratulations. If you could input into the question section, just put the address that you'd like us to send it to and what size you would like. That would be wonderful.
Mark, also in the comments, can you clarify that was your guess and you weren't calling for help? If the three of us turn up, you're in trouble.
Just dialed 999 on everything. Well done, Mark. Put that into the questions if you would, please. We always have a quiz on the Power Hour. It's part of the tradition. So, the Power Hour menu, I'm going to jump to sending automated reminders with confidence, because that's an important one that I think we need to look at, particularly if there are any things going on at the moment that might require a lot of automatic reminders. No, I don't think there are. But if there were, how would we do it, Johan?
You'd probably get a decent practice management software and use that.
That would help.
Right, let me share my screen. This is where I find out I've not got permission to share screen or something. Share a window. And I'm going to share that window. And that is the demo account up and running. Fantastic. Let me move this box out of the way. Okay, so automated emails. Everybody loves the concept of automated emails. You'll be surprised how few actually use automated emails in the true sense. So a lot of practice management tools have pushed automated emails as their big marketing flagship for years, but actually when you looked at the statistics, less than 2% of emails sent from practice management tools were actually fully automated. And what I mean by fully automated, I mean an email is generated and sent without any human intervention. But that obviously leaves a bit of concern. So that we aren't sending emails that we shouldn't be sending. Say Bob rang me last night to talk about his VAT, and then an automated VAT reminder goes out tomorrow. It doesn't make sense to always have it fully automated. So we've built it in a way in Engager that you have multiple ways of phases and steps to do this. You can have it fully automated, or you don't have to. You can just automate the generation of the email ready for review and sending. So if you create an email automation that just creates an email and you stores it ready to send, that's where you go into automations, and there'll be a queue and you can go in there. And these are all the emails that we've generated ready for someone to review and send in the demo account. You can have a look at the email. You can edit the email if you wanted to. You can send it, or you can just delete it. So that's all there for you. What I'll do is I'm going to show you an instance of an automated email I do in my firm, which is 100% automated. So I'm going to go to settings. And this is where we go to set up all of our automated emails, because automated emails are related to services. And I'm going to send a automated email for CSO1. He says CSO1. And what we do is we click on Setup here under Global Automated Reminders. The reason we've got global in front of it is basically what we're saying here is every client that's got this service is going to get this automated email. But what you can do is you can then go into each client and tailor the email and the frequencies, or remove it from that client entirely. Basically, what we do is we're going to go in, and this is a true fully automated process that I use in my firm without any human intervention. And that is, so I enable the automation. The first question it then asks is, do I want to put this in the queue, basically for review? I'm going to say no. Because I know 100% there is absolutely...
Are you able to zoom in just a little bit?
Pardon?
It's a bit small. Are you able to zoom in just a little bit?
I don't know if I... Hang on.
You maybe there. Yeah, much better. Yeah, look, a couple more. It's kind of zoomed out actually. Now I've not helped the situation there. It did go in and then it went back out again. There we go. Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, much better. Cheers, mate.
Much better.
Nick does sabotage me, Tom, because he knows I'm a better demonstration person.
Always.
So I go in. First of all, put in a queue. I've said I don't want this in the queue. So I'm going to get the example I'm going to use here is a confirmation statement, right? You find me one client that turns up to you before the confirmation statement's due and says, have you remembered my confirmation statement's coming up? No one remembers it until the letter from Company's House that rocks up 14 to 7 days before the confirmation statement arrives, is due, that letter rocks up, and that's when they go, oh. So what I do in my firm is 21 days before the self-assessment deadline is I send an automated reminder saying, has anything changed? Do we need to be aware of anything? So what you do is you choose the email template. Now, I don't think I've put one in the demo account for this, so we'll just choose a random email template. If you want, you can then preview it here as well. You choose which outbox it's going from and choose whether it's going to all contacts of a limited company, of a business, or primary contact only. Normally, I just send it to the primary contact. Then I'm going to say I want it to send 21 days before the statutory deadline, which is the date of the confirmation statement filing. And then what I can do is I can go, right, well, so if the deadline is the 31st of the 6th, 2026, it will then go, right, well, that will, sorry, 30th of the 6th, yeah, and there's only 30 days there. That will then go, right, well, your first automation would happen on the 9th of the 6th, 2026. So it gives you an opportunity to test the idea. Then you can select whether you want this to repeat or not. I only want this to send once, so I'm not going to turn on repeating. But if I did want it to repeat, I'd tick repeat, and then I'd tell it how often for how long for it to go. Then under what conditions do I want it to send? So I can set it for records received date is or is not set, or I can go for job status and go, as long as the job is in request records, then I want it to send. So, or is not. So you've got lots and lots of options to really customize this around what you want. Then you'd press save. And then at 9, it will literally do what you've told it to do. It's at 9 o'clock, 21 days before the deadline, it will send the email templated above. And that is how we send automated emails. If you've told it to go that you don't want to, you want it to go into the queue, then when you log in at 9 o'clock in the morning, it will be in this queue that I showed you at the start. Hopefully that makes sense. That is automated emails.
All covered. So Tom asks, is it possible to add a checklist?
Well, you can add whatever you want to the email template. So if I go into settings and I'll go to my communication message templates, I can literally create as many templates as I want. If you want to duplicate one and edit it slightly, you can, or you can just go in and edit it. So you can put in here like any placeholders or tokens, as they're called in TaxCalc. So we call them placeholders. Every field in Engager and every custom field you create automatically gets a placeholder. So you can literally put any of these placeholders in so that you're personalizing the emails. If you get really good at this, your clients don't actually know it's automated. If you can really word it naturally and use all the right data points, the amount of my clients that email me back saying, thanks, Johan, for this email. Here's my information. And it's really clear from their response. They think I've sat there and written this to them today. And it's like, no, but okay. But that's the human touch that we can achieve if we get our email script right. And if you want a tool to help you with that, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, fantastic at helping to write emails like this.
So a couple of other questions. So in terms of styling, HTML, if you're going to add design elements, logos, that kind of thing.
So our emails are fairly basic because regardless of what we do, Microsoft Gmail and all the other email domains interpret the data differently. So we keep it as simple as possible to make sure there's consistency in the delivery. So what you can do is choose whether it's headings, normal fonts, etc. You can't choose different fonts. You can do bold, italics, etc. You can put an image in there. You can put a table in there. You can put hyperlinks in there. You can format from left to center to middle, etc. But that is the extent of the formatting. You can choose different colors and stuff like that as well.
Okay, and there was a question, will there be a way, so Tom's asking if he has a checklist for the VAT return service, Once their period end passes, the auto email can be set up with the checklist to ask them for data. So you can add that into the automation process.
Yeah. So what I would do is if I've got like an automated VAT email, so I've got this one here saying, please note your VAT period for business name ends, and we put the date in for them, blah, blah, blah. So what I would then do is I'd go into each client that has a VAT service, and I can do that easily by going to filters, enabled services, and VAT. So this is all my clients that got VAT services. I could go into fixyourleak.com. I could go to their tailored checklist, service auto reminders. I can go to the VAT one and I can edit it. And I can literally disable the generic one and enable a private one. And in their template, I would add a placeholder. I'd add the checklist of items. The even quicker way to do this would be to go into, and for each client, to have a new custom field. So we go to settings, go to custom fields. I'm going to create a new custom field. Call it VAT list. I'm going to make it a multi-line text box. I'm going to save that. And what I could do is I could then put that placeholder, which is custom at VAT list, into the global template. And I could go into each client, and I'd only have to do this once unless it changes. I could go into each client, and in the VAT list, I can document what I normally need every quarter from this client. And then that list could be different for every client, but would pull into the global email every time with their different lists for the right clients. There you go. Tom's met me before. He thinks I'm a genius.
What more do you want? Now, I've got a tough one for you here. Johan has come in from Sue, and I don't know, is there a way to see a full demonstration of Engager at any point? Is there any way?
No, sit there and work it out on your own. Yeah. So there's loads of ways. So first of all, you'll go to our website. Okay, on our website, you're going to be able to take a trial out. You're going to be able to watch a demo. You're going to be able to book a demo at the top, and you can do that as a group, as a big group booking where we do one stand-up demo every week, or you can book a personal demo with Nick's team. After you've done your demo, but you want to really deep dive into all your different features, then what would be probably helpful is a different webinar a day talking about a different set of features. That'd be quite cool. So if you go to support, free training sessions, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, they are free. Every single day of the week, we have a different training session. And there's a 2-week cycle of 8 topics and 2 standing ones. So every Friday, we have a getting started one where we go through all the key things for anyone that's just signed up that week. Then we do time and profitability, communication automation, integrations and automation, client records and data control, pricing with confidence, proposals on and onboarding, workflow and visibility, and client experience. And these run through every 2 weeks. So let's say you get a new team member. Why waste your time training them on Engager when Engager will do it for free for you? You just sign them up to the new webinars, and that's it. They've learned all the features they need to know.
There is no excuse.
Anything else?
Time after time, you get issues with people using practice management who say we only use about 10%, and in reality, they're probably using 5% of it, and that frustrates us. So we want to make sure that you get as much as you can from the stuff that we're giving you. So that's why we do all of this. Well, I say we do, is Johan covers the most of the can on that.
On top of this, we have a Wednesday live every Wednesday night at 7:30 for the last 3 years, give or take a few when I've been on holiday, Christmas, or at Accountex and stuff. I do a live Zoom session answering anyone's questions and going through any of the latest updates as well. So when someone like they do at Accountex say, oh, well, you know, we struggled to get into it, we didn't really feel we had any materials to get on with. It's like, excuse me? Do you know how much we do? So yeah, there is absolutely tons and tons of free material. And on top of that, we've got the Help Center, which has got hundreds and hundreds of written guides, screenshots to take you through things, and pre-recorded videos all in there. All of our webinars are in there. Everything is in there, including 3 years worth of backdated 1 hour long Engager live sessions recorded in there as well.
Can I jump in and ask you, there's a question in the chat from Sharon that I'd rather you answer than me, because I'll get in trouble otherwise. It says, on the previous screen, you had some boxes for personal tax, amount due in July, balancing payment in January, for example. Yep. Do these pull directly from TaxCalc, or do they get populated manually? I always have a total nightmare sending these emails from TaxCalc.
So these are built custom fields that I have built in the test account. As an example, we have them in my firm. At the moment, they are manually populated. I am promised by the product team that by August, we will be able to pull these figures from TaxCalc into Engager for you. And then those placeholders can go onto pre-built email templates and will populate with the right information. No problems at all. And that would work on one email to someone individually, automated emails, or bulk emails.
Awesome. So we have a few minutes left, and I would like to cover one more subject. And I do apologize, Nick, but I want to drag you back on stage because I think we should probably do just a quick look at MTD and just how to do the filing. How to use quarterly filer to submit via a spreadsheet, just in case you've got any clients that might be struggling with a new development that's coming live with the deadline in early August.
Absolutely no problem at all. I'm just going to have to switch my instance of TaxCalc to a different one to allow me to do it. I'm authorized to do it in this current instance, but let me just share this spreadsheet before we go any further. So let's put this on screen. Share screen, entire screen, this one, share. Perfect. That should come through now. So what I've got on the screen there is a spreadsheet that TaxCalc has produced for you. You do not have to use it if you don't want to use our spreadsheet, but we provided a template primarily because our firms asked us to produce one. So one of our ex-colleagues and now customer of TaxCalc, Dean Shepherd, you may know Dean from the Power Hours and TaxCalc TV. He produced this spreadsheet for us to allow you to kind of download from the TaxCalc website. And Andy, Johan, do you mind just going to just Google TaxCalc MTD spreadsheet and copying the link of the knowledge base article and pop it into the chat for me. And we've got this template to allow you to fill it in with your client's details, your client fill it in, and then upload it straight into the TaxCalc system. Because fundamentally, this is a TaxCalc spreadsheet. It does have the TaxCalc logo on it as default, but I got rid of it and can't remember how to get it back. But what we find is that a lot of practices are just removing any information of the word TaxCalc on it, removing this information down here that's got information of TaxCalc, and branding it up as your own MTD spreadsheet. That is absolutely fine. Okay, we're happy for you to do that and have it as your own spreadsheet. Put your own logos on it, put your own names on it. That's fine. And then beneath it, what we have are the various different tabs at the bottom, and these tabs are protected in the spreadsheet that we provide for you. I've opened mine up so I can show you what the functions effectively do, but it is a protected sheet. What we then have within here are certain formulas that pull information through from information behind it into these lead boxes. So you'll see here that I've got my turnover and all the expenses categories that HMRC want it to be populated in. What all that is doing is pulling information from the relevant sales and purchases transactions tabs, where you pick the relevant multi-filing analysis, for example, for income, turnover, other business income, or exclude. And effectively for purchase transactions, I've got all the different categories that HMRC want. You fill in the relevant information, have the dates and information on there. It will pull through to the lead sheet and effectively update this spreadsheet once a quarter. It is going to be the same spreadsheet that is uploaded 4 times. You don't need 4 separate spreadsheets and new data because what you're submitting is cumulative data. So let me just log into my version of TaxCalc now to remember my password to get into the other version. Let's see if I can get in. I might disappear briefly if it asks me to do some admin stuff, so give me a second. Hopefully I'm still there. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so come on, TaxCalc, open up now for me, wherever you are. There we go. Right, so let's put you on here. There we go. So I'm back in TaxCalc, and the button which we're looking at right now is the MTD quarterly files. Let me just close that spreadsheet down. And I've got my MTD quarterly filer. I click launch on the front, and then you pick your relevant client. The one which I'm going to use today is Ian Simpson. Open up Ian Simpson, and we can see here you can choose which tax period you're looking to file within. You can click new tax year, and you can see I've got my 26-27 tax year available to post into. If I just open up this one for 5th of April 2026, as if I'm ready to make my final submission for this client, the first thing we get is a taskbar down the left-hand side. And in the first tab is a button called Introduction, 1.5 to 3 minutes, and it's been recorded to show you how to use this product if you forget when it gets to July and August, you'll be able to utilize this function. Press this button and it will show you how to use it. But if I click business information, the first thing we need to do is link the different trades for Ian Simpson, in this example, Simpson's Motors in UK Property, to HMRC by clicking the link business option. And you can see here for both Simpson's Motors and UK Property, you can choose which quarterly period type you're wanting to make a submission for. Once you have made a submission using a particular quarterly period type, you cannot change it for that client for the rest of that tax year. I would recommend, if you have a client with 2 separate trades and 2 separate businesses and 2 separate submissions, keep the same quarterly period type to make it consistent and easy for everyone. Quarterly statuses, so you can see Simpson's Motors UK Property that I fulfilled the first quarter, but the next 3 are overdue. So I have the ability to click refresh HMRC status, and that would pull it through if I've made a submission elsewhere. You can see I have the option here for non-TaxCalc submission. So if this has been filed elsewhere, it will still tell you in TaxCalc that it's been filed and filed elsewhere. Data submissions on the left-hand side. I'm going to delete one I've already done here and click create new update. And we'll see that I have the ability to download the TaxCalc bookkeeping spreadsheet from here. That's via the same Andy popped into the chat. And then you can see here that it's doing my period start 6th of April to the 31st of March. I can choose to do summarized data. If my income is likely to be under £90,000, that's the equivalent of the short form that you've got at the minute in personal tax. And I've got my detailed breakdown if it's likely to be over £90,000, effectively the full form. Click select file and browse to that spreadsheet. So I've got my one here that I looked at earlier. Open it up, and it will then upload it into here. Now, for some reason in my system, this upload is taking a bit longer than it used to. It's taking about 15 or 20 seconds to do it. It used to be instant, so I'm not sure what's happening in my test system. But if anyone is feeling the same, or when it comes to it, it is slow, please do let us know. But yeah, I'm not sure what's happened since I've been messing around with it. This is a sandbox version, which is probably why it's now slower than it was, but it should be instant. It's only really changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks since I've been doing these demonstrations. Also, to a point, if it gets nearer the time, we are running weekly demonstrations every Wednesday at 1:30 of what I'm showing you on screen here as well. So if anyone wants to see it in more detail nearer the time, jump onto the MTD webinars we're doing, and my colleague Jason will show you how to do it. There is a little tick box that says save a copy of the imported spreadsheet. I would recommend you tick that just because it saves it in the system you can refer back to afterwards, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. Click next, and it will show you the spreadsheet on screen. And I've got my tab at the bottom. So if I choose quarterly filing totals, you can see here, these are the boxes that I had on my sheet. Now, if it's the first time you've ever used this particular template or a template for a particular client, it's going to ask you to map the boxes on the right-hand side to the relevant boxes in MTD. So you can select turnover, drag and drop it over the turnover box, select other income and drag and drop it over other, cost of goods, select it and drag and drop it over cost of goods. But in reality, what you'll find is that once you've made this submission for the first client, the boxes are going to be in the same place for the same on the same sheet for that client and other clients using the same template. So you're able to apply a saved map. So if I choose here TaxCalc MTD template, that is going to automatically map everything into the correct boxes for your client. You have on the right-hand side the ability to add additional disallowables as an amount or as a percentage. Once you're happy, you click Save and Next. It'll give you a nice report telling you your income and expenses to this point in time, and then the bottom right corner, submit to HMRC. You are able to get an export of this if you wanted to preview it and save it down, probably put it into the Engager portal for approval, but I appreciate there's no formal requirement to do that, but you click submit to HMRC and then it will go. So I appreciate I've gone through that relatively quickly. We do have those webinars on a Wednesday, every Wednesday at 1:30, but that little video in the product will be able to help you as well. But any questions, please do reach out to us and we'll be able to help you and guide you through this tumultuous time, shall I say.
It really is that simple, though. So if you've got clients who still aren't quite sure how they're going to be making their first quarterly submissions, or they're starting to think about what happens next year when the threshold drops, and the MTD quarterly filer may well be your best friend. We have come to the end of our Power Hour. So I would like to thank you all very, very much. Certainly, and Nick and Johan, you were wonderful. Really appreciate that. And thank you for everyone in the chat. We will be back next month with another Power Hour, but we will also, if you haven't had enough of us, and I can totally understand if you haven't, I'm just putting a link into the chat. We will be in Manchester on the 16th of June, and we will be, it's right by Victoria Station, for Fusion on the road, where we will be joined by most of the TaxCalc team, most of the Engager team will be on hand to show you our products. We'll be doing an Engager deep dive, and we will be doing a Power Hour live on stage. So that's certainly one to look forward to. But we will also have contributions from some of our friends out in the world. So Sal Nasser is going to be doing a piece around how you can build policies around your AI use within your firm so it doesn't get you into trouble. And we've got David Logan from TAG, and he's going to be talking about some of the tax planning issues that you'll be facing this year and next. So please do come along if you are anywhere near Manchester. I know tickets are tight, but if you get in quick, you will be able to get one. And good to see you, Alan. Thank you. I spoke to you earlier. Good to see you. Really appreciate you showing up, and we will see you next time. All the very, very best. See you later.